It won't let me go there, so.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hey folks, welcome back for another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, Steve Rochelle. Got a guest host this week. Zach had a tournament he had to do some little moving and shaking, had to call in some favors. So my friend over here from Philly Foothills over here, he has a YouTube channel covering Eagles football. Was it the Nest of the West? So appreciate you hopping on here, helping me hold down the fort a little bit while we get some of our guys some time to do some personal things. So appreciate the time, my friend, for sure.
Very much so, Steve. I appreciate it much as well myself. Appreciate the opportunity to come on with you.
No worries, man. You know, appreciate the media love from one another, you know, and
absolutely.
we're gonna have some fun today. You know, we're gonna talk some Sixers. I'm gonna be joined by bare knuckle boxing bantamweight Reggie Barnett Jr. We're gonna talk some Eagles. Obviously, you know, a lot of stuff happened for the Eagles within the last week of us being on the air here, and talk some Phillies. Towards the end of the program here, gonna have some fun. But first and foremost, as we always start off our shows, give some love to sponsors. And this show is brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Check out our doc, make him your doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. Specialized Physical Therapy LLC, 2 locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. Like I said, he's our doc. Now make him yours. Specialized Physical Therapy. And today's poll question is Joel Embiid the most dominating big man since Shaq? Agree to disagree? He's been on a tear, quite a tear, and he's been a lot of people, hit on him for, load management. Shaq's taking some public shots at him, but he's looking like he's kind of turned a corner this season. It's been his offensive production has been really consistent. Last night he dropped a 50 last night. So we can. Everyone wants to turn away the MVP talks for Joel. I think it's still there, and I think he can do it. But and as far as that poll question. I might not find it.
He absolutely is a beast. He is a dominating force in the middle, and
that's
I think he's the new beast in the East. Definitely, he's in my eyes, he's definitely a front runner for the MVP, and he should definitely be in the MVP talk right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, Joe's done a lot of things, and this season, and he's been on an absolute tear. Look what he did last night. Look what he's been doing this season. He's averaging damn near 30 points. He's turned and you can say a lot of things. People could say, I think the biggest thing right now is Dwight Howard's mentorship towards him is probably the thing that's kind of helping him this season. But I also think it's the coach. I think it's hearing all the talk, and he's finally what is he? We're about 6, 7, 8 years in on his career. He's hitting that maturity, and he's starting to get it. He does a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely right. You're definitely correct about that. He's maturing very well, and that's only helping his game on a consistent basis. He's a dominant force in the middle, and he reminds me. His game does remind me a lot of Shaq. The dominance of his play, and it's a different league. It's kind of a different league in the NBA now, but I definitely think that he should he's definitely got a scoring title possibility for this year as well.
I mean, I think he probably could, I already said at the beginning of the season, I thought he was coming home with hardware, regardless if we were talking about the defensive championship, regardless if we were talking MVP, regardless if we're talking an NBA title. I don't know. That's up for debate. We'll see what happens. I'm telling you, Joel Embiid is gonna bring home some postseason hardware this year.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's got a good group around him on the Sixers, and the coaching has improved this year in my eyes. So I think the sky is the limit for this team this year for sure.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like you look around, and yeah, they still have some things to prove as far as some teams here in the East. We got to see what happens in the 7 game. I keep telling you, when we have to see what's going to happen come playoff time. I mean, it's great. He's doing outstanding the regular season. Another all-star ballot there under his belt. The question is when is this fan base is going to finally turn that corner and just give him the love that he really deserves? He is the best big man since Shaq. I mean, with all nothing to take nothing away from any of the guys that came between there, but you haven't had an MVP winner since Shaq.
Right.
You haven't.
Right.
And there has been a lot of, more than serviceable big men during that time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead.
What I was going to say was, and Ben Simmons is starting to become more and more of a better complementary player to Joel.
But see, I think isn't that the thing though? Like, I think in this city, we want Ben to kind of be the same person that Joe is, but he's the superstar. Don't get me wrong, but he's a different part of that piece. And
right.
And everyone is you want to complain because Ben isn't the super aggressive guy 100% of the time. He doesn't need to be the super aggressive guy 100% of the time. He just has to play within his role on the team.
Right.
And as long as he's giving me those other stats, I'm still not really worried about how much he's taking threes, how much he's taking those perimeter shots. I'll keep beating this drum. How long did Magic Johnson take to develop his shot?
Right. Absolutely. That's a great example. And my dad, God rest his soul, always used to tell me, practice makes perfect. The more reps you take, the better you're going to get. So I don't hate him as long as he's not, overly shooting the ball from deep. But I think that, they're starting to kind of develop a Batman and Robin type of duo, and definitely have a chance to go to the finals this year.
Now, with that being said, we're getting to the point where, and here's another big matchup tomorrow against the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, one where they've been hot and cold on over the last few years, and they've had our number also. It's kind of been, it's kind of been the witch in the closet we can't get rid of. So, do you see a dub with this one? We kind of they get a rust day here, and
is the game in Philly?
I'm not sure, but does it really? I mean, win loss, that doesn't
really matter these days.
You have to come perform. You have to come to play.
Right, absolutely.
Appreciate the love, Eileen.
Yes. Thank you, Eileen. We appreciate it very much. So,
but here's the thing, right? So
Eileen, don't forget to check out the Nest Out West on YouTube. Philly Food Hills.
Appreciate that. Now, looking forward to that. What do you like? What's the matchup you're really looking? Are you looking to Joe to kind of extend on that, or are you looking for one of the other guys? Or do you think Tobias is the guy that kind of steps up and kind of nail this one down? As far as because obviously after last night, people are going to be Joe's not going to drop 50 on us tonight. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you know what? I think at the beginning of the game, they're going to try to slow down Joel.
I wouldn't even really I would just kind of have them out there to be out there, just all right, Joe, just let them do what they're going to do.
Right. I don't think that I don't know. I really don't feel like that the Raptors really have anyone that can. I mean, they could try to double team him, I guess, but that's just gonna, like you said, that's just gonna free up some space for somebody else like Tobias or another player like that. And I think you're probably right. Another complimentary player is gonna hopefully step up tonight and get in, help the Sixers get the W.
Yeah, I mean, I like their chances, but also you know how it is with when you have some of these big games, sometimes they also have that letdown, and the Raptors are also, like I said, one of these teams has been the thorn in the Sixers side. Obviously, this is over a different regime, and we're having a new one. But they lost them earlier this season, if memory serves me. And it wasn't a game that they should have lost by any means, but here we are.
Right.
I think it's tomorrow, Ted. That's tomorrow. I think they're off tonight. I think it's Saturday or something. Right? I believe the game's on Sunday. If memory serves me.
Yeah, it's Saturday today.
I know. It's been a crazy week for me. I've had a lot of stuff going on, so bear with me. But
I have as well.
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, Ted. Now he wants to know who's going to defend you. Does it really matter who's going to defend well? I mean, they're going to be after dropping 50 last night. Or do you not expect them to kind of be circling guys down to them when they can?
Right. They're gonna be sending like a platoon. After,
well, I mean, you're already looking at the body. There's only so much you can do to stop Joe without leaving yourself vulnerable in other places. But you got to think that slowing him down, getting him contained to that, they don't want to continue to see that. But also you have to think about how the Sixers team has been, where they have these games where they have these big performances and they go, day off, and oh man, they got a day off and they're about to do what? They're gonna play the Raptors. Okay, that should be a win, right? And then they throw a dud down.
Right. I wonder if I don't have the NBA schedule in front of me, but if the Raptors play tonight, I give the Sixers definitely if the Raptors are playing on a back-to-back, the Sixers will definitely have an advantage for sure, as far as rest goes, at least, and preparation.
Listen, I really like I said, I really like what this team is doing. I've already said that, it's Eastern Conference Finals or bust basically for this team. Anything less than that is an extreme disappointment, but
I agree. I think so too.
But at the same time, the East got better this past season, and also with more trades that you've seen during the season, the Nets are definitely a lot more of a threat now than you kind of felt before the season. And we're like, oh well, one of the two are going to get hurt, and that's that. But now,
right? Yeah, the Nets were a threat obviously before they got Harden, and now it's like they have an expendable guy. Harden or Kyrie could go down, and they're still in prime position. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely got some more competition in the East this year, so it'll be interesting.
You still have to deal with Boston. You still have to deal with the Heat.
Right. it's going to be the playoffs are definitely going to be I think a lot more entertaining.
The top four in the East look really nice, so we'll have to see, what plays out. But looks like I got my first guest is already sitting here in the back, and definitely going to be having to show some love real fast. So, guys, we're going to switch gears real here. We'll be talking some bare knuckle boxing. Going to be joined by more or less the number one contender for bare knuckle boxing's bantamweight title there, and we're going to be joined by Mr. Reggie Barnett Jr. How are we doing here, my friend?
It's Barnett Jr.
It's Barnett. I mean, I'm used to Bennett because we have to do with that defensive tackle here in Philadelphia that doesn't really do anything. Or N. Yeah, see?
It's all good. I do a lot though. Barnett do a lot. My fights.
Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me on. I greatly appreciate the invite. I really
it was definitely it was a little overdue. I kind of wanted to get you on leading up to the last fight, but just how things work out, weren't able to kind of really work at the time, and when I was able to kind of work things into the programming. But you got the co-main event slot here. And,
yes, finally. I worked my way all the way from tryouts, and here we are on my 7th fight, and I finally got me a co-main event spot. So I think it's much overdue, and I'm ready to go to work. Of course, I come in as the underdog, as always.
We love underdogs in Philly.
Yeah. Well, they stayed trying to get me to come up there and fight. They offered me a fight up there, but then I got offered the bare knuckle fight. That's where my heart is. So, of course, I'm going to step into the bare knuckle square circle no matter who they offer. And, I happen to draw a former 4-time world champion in boxing, but this isn't boxing. This is bare knuckle. It's my home. It's my sport. I don't know if you've seen any of my handiwork. So I'm up for all challenges. I said that. So I'm ready to go. March 19th in Biloxi, Mississippi, man. It's going to be fireworks.
No. Yeah, it definitely is going to be. I'm really looking forward to that card. You got the legend himself, Leonard Garcia, is going to be on that card fighting after you. That should be a fun fight with Joey Elmore. That
and everybody's like, "Oh, Joe's gonna walk through Leonard." No, I don't really think so. I think this is gonna be. A couple people said that to me, and I was like, "No. This is going to be a war." Like Leonard Garcia is not the dude standing up who is gonna lay down. He may not be the best technical striker this far along in his career, but he still can fight, and he's not just gonna lay down and not bang with you if he has to bang, and we all know that Joe Elmore's coming to bang. So I can't wait, to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a few more of those announcements. I don't think I've seen all I don't think the whole fight card has been released yet, to my knowledge.
No, I think those are the only 2 fights. They added a 3rd fight the other day, but I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah,
see.
I think that's what Dave and them do. They kind of like slow, like they might have. I think they got the whole card lined out and they just slowly leak it out.
Yeah. I can't divulge some of the information, because as fighters we talk. We're part of a little Facebook group or whatnot. But a few of them have, already confirmed that they are fighting. They just haven't really.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a few people say, yeah, we're going to Mississippi and stuff like that, but I haven't seen anyone say, like, I'm like looking around, I'm like, we got no, it's not. That's not an actual announcement. Damn you guys.
Biloxi is the place to be. I mean, I absolutely love fighting there. I think this will be my 3rd time competing down there, so it's just they're very warm, welcoming. It's absolute. Just fantastic event anytime we fight down in Biloxi. So I'm looking forward to that.
So this is going to be will this be your 3rd bare knuckle fight then?
No, actually I'm 5-1 in the league.
Okay.
I'm tied for the 2nd best record in the league. The only person to beat me, which was the former belt holder, Johnny Bedford. But of course, he lost to that bitch Gwen. In the last event, And so we know Dad's ducking me. A whole bunch of people had a whole bunch of crap to say when I jumped in the ring and about stealing his spotlight or whatever. But he knows that he pulled out on a fight with me on 3 days' notice, which was some coward stuff to do after all the trash that he talked about me. So now You're the belt holder at 135, and here I am again having to prove that I belong here, that I belong in this sport. That's what I feel like this fight against Chop Chop is. It's like, dang, y'all want me, you know, I'm from the first trial in Philly to everybody that I've fought. And, well, I've only gotten better even since my loss with Johnny Bedford. And here we are again. We know rightfully I should be fighting that. And, you know, we could give that some time to recover. But they're like, well, you beat Chop Chop, you got a guaranteed world title shot when that recovers. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, then. I'm up for the challenge. You know, I want to prove one to myself and to the fans, you know, and the people who support me and know my journey that I'm really built for this. That I was made for this sport, and that I'm here to stay. You know, and so, like I said, Chop Chop saying he's just gonna come in and take my spot. He's like, oh, I'm gonna knock him out in 2. 1, you're not gonna knock me out. If we end up fighting, it's gonna be a war to the decision. If you last that long, then that's what it's going to be. But knock me out, that's like the least thing that I'm really worried about. You know, I've been there, I've been hit hard, you know, blase. So we'll deal with that bridge when it comes. But as far as, you know, bare knuckle in itself, this is my sport, and I've only grown in it. You know, I respect and I understand his boxing prowess, but this ain't boxing, baby.
It ain't. It's, you know, like, listen, like, people don't understand. People do not understand, like box, like what was the first one? Was it Paulie G that went in there and Artem freaking did the worst to him? And Artem wasn't even that great of a striker.
No, not at all. But you know what the difference is? The punches hit different when the knuckles touch your face. They hit different.
Especially you got some bigger hands too. You somebody in some trouble.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot closer to street fighting.
My nuts are all bruised up and conditioned, and you know, I've been through the ringer, and they say that you were like not supposed to have longevity in this sport, and here I'm going on my 7th fight, and really, I think only once have I broke my hands this entire, you know, the length of my career thus far. You know, and of course, we know what the goal is. Not just to win the belts, but I want to defend them so I can actually be the first definitive champion.
That's what you got to think. I don't think anyone's been able to. No one's been able to retain it.
Yes, exactly. You know, I respect Johnny. He won the tournament. You know, he got the belts. He held on to the belts. All the hoopla in between, injuries, the pullout with Dad, him, you know, running for me, the trash talk or whatever. So now we have Dad. He's the belt holder. He's not the champion. But Dad keeps running his mouth and talking trash, and then saying he's going to run off the 145 and he wants to fight the heavyweight champion and all this delusional crap. And all that is just an excuse to not have to fight who you know is the rightful number 1 contender, the one next in line.
He's scared.
Right? Yeah, that's all it is. You're
now,
about it. So even if
this show is agree to disagree, right? I'll play devil's advocate. What if it's not scared talk? What if he's just trying to play his Conor McGregor card? He wants to go up and try to be a multiple weight champion and all that. I agree with the fact of you that he absolutely. That the 3 days notice thing, no. That's no go in MMA. In boxing, it doesn't go. You don't do that in combat sports. You don't do that.
Nope.
No, just like
and you know what?
Just like we saw Friday, we just seen somebody miss weight by 2 weight classes.
That's very unprofessional. You don't do that. You don't when you get to a certain threshold, when you get to a certain level in sports. It's unprofessional to do that or to carry yourself that way. And the fact that he even still got to have the title shot against Johnny before me, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, they're disrespecting you. That's kind of a slap in the face. I'm like, nah, it's cool. I knew what was coming. But we'll see how Dak plays his card, because at the end of the day, if he doesn't fight me, he's a coward. And the world knows that. Even if you run off the 145 and don't come back and fight me, the world knows you're a coward. Right now, though, I'm not even focused on that. Like I said, the focus is Chop Corley and thinking that he's going to come in.
And that's the other thing we're going to go back to.
And that's so far from what's going to happen on March 19th. If you want my spot, bro, you got to kill me. I worked too hard. I sacrificed too much. My family sacrificed too much. You know, my son just turned 9 months. 9 months old, my baby boy is walking, you know, and I'm looking at him like he's looking up to me. You know, so I have all this that
got strong legs like his daddy.
You know what I'm saying? So I hope that whatever you're bringing to the ring, other than your former world championships, because that's exactly what they are, former world championships. And like I said, I respect your time put in the boxing world. I most definitely do. I respect the top-notch fighters that you have fought, right? But this is a different sport that I happen to be a top-notch fighter in. And anytime you fought one of them guys, you got beat. And that's exactly what's going to happen on March 19th. The story isn't any different.
Like, listen, as soon as I seen this fight, like, listen, respect the fact that this dude's a boxer, but, like, this is one of those matchups that's like, listen, get your popcorn ready because
it's
these
going to be
two
entertaining
dudes,
for the least.
Listen.
Oh, definitely. Anytime I step in there, it's entertaining, and I'm cool with that. Like, I'm the guy, I love fighting. I need that. And let's see, there were 2 fights that really didn't feel like fights after the Rusty Crowder fight because he ran the whole time. And then the Matt Murphy fight, which yet nobody has still seen. I'm hoping maybe leading up to the Chop Chop fight that they'll release the Matt Murphy fight and the world could see a little bit of what Chop Chop has coming towards him. You know, just so he can see it himself. Because if you weren't there, if you weren't live to see the Matt Murphy fight, I broke his heart in a minute and a half. He just gave up in the second round, and the cut was all due respect to him, right? But he didn't. And then when I fought Abdil, I was fighting one of my friends. That was so hard to go out there and beat up one of my friends just to prove a point that I had grown and I'm better than these guys in this sport. There's levels to this, you know? And it's not just boxing. I'm on a whole different level, bare knuckle. And whether I get in there with Chop Chop Corley, whether I get in there with Johnny Bedford, whether I get in there with Dak Quinn, whether I get in there with Jarrett Grant, we could go down the list, you know, if Travis, it does not matter. I have grown. I am one of the best fighters at 135 pounds bare knuckle in the world. And I'm going to keep proving it. And so, come on, Chop Chop, let's have a great fight. But I swear at the end of the day, I'm going to cut you down.
Like, listen, his words that you don't have anything else to say about this. And you got one of your fans up here in the chat already, you know, showing you some love. Actually,
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it, man. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your love, man.
Man.
Look, he said, met me at BKFC 1. He knows the road that I had to take to get here. You know, we're going on to BKFC 16. And I'm just now, from 1 to 16, I'm just now getting my co-main event with 5 wins, right? And only 1 loss to the champion. So, well, the former belt holder, whatever. Let's get it. I'm cool. I'm pumped for this. I feel like the underdog too. Everybody's like, oh yeah, he's about to get exposed for the never was that he was supposed to be. Somebody posted that on my Instagram, and I took it with a little grain of salt. And I'm like, yeah, I never was supposed to be here. But guess what? I'm here.
We say this stuff all the time, dude. Like I love people who say that stuff. It doesn't matter if we're talking about fighting. It doesn't matter if we're talking about business. It doesn't matter if we're talking about, you know, fellow media members. People who act like that. Listen, all you're doing is giving us more, way more fuel than you ever needed to give us.
Oh,
Because now you just gave us some different type of self-motivation. So, like, when people do that stuff to you, you just realize you're getting this man hurt more.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, it just gives me, like, all right, well, then, I'm gonna outbox you for a little bit, and then I'm just gonna beat you up bare knuckle. Or I might just beat you up bare knuckle and then step back, outbox you a little bit, and then start finish you bare knuckle. It does, you know. It just when they think that they're doubting me, and it's okay. I appreciate it. You know, and then I have fans that you see that are go hard, that know the work that I put in, what I've been through, you know, and all the struggle and stuff motivates me too. You know, and so I'm grinding, and I just want to go out there and put on a great show for the fans, but also continue to solidify my legacy, because that's what I'm building. It ain't even really about having the belts. I'm an OG in this sport. I'm solidifying my legacy. Chop Chop's just going to be another name to help put it when they go back and they look at the history book and they look at bare knuckle, like, dang, Reggie fought the who's who of his weight class when he was coming. I'm not that guy who ran like that. and duck the people who you knew that are better than, or cherry pick. I don't like
Jesse. He just hit the nail on the head on the other part that we see in all parts of combat sports, regardless if it's the fighter doing it, regardless if it's the management doing it, regardless if it's the promoter doing it. I don't like to see the whole cherry picking thing. That is I don't like to see when you get into the sport because you want to be considered the best 90% of the time. Very few do you have people getting in it for the wrong reasons, and most times you see real quickly they want they're exited out either by their own or by somebody else. But at that time, you listen.
There's a couple fighters from here where I'm from that I have much respect for. I watched it, and I don't have like a great record like they do. I'm not maybe well known in the boxing world as they are, but I watched it. They let them pick their fights all the way up to, a decent amount of wins and no losses. And then they got in there and they ran into somebody like me, who's got nothing to lose, and all the skill and the dog in them in the world and nothing to lose. And their entire world gets just shattered apart. And that perfect record, that aurora, that persona of perfection and greatness just goes out the window. I'm that guy.
I told myself I can hear the confidence in his voice.
I was gonna be that guy, or I wasn't gonna fight. And so go look at my boxing record, right? And my first 2 fights were gimme fights. I had to get my foot in the door. Even go look at my MMA record. I'm 3-4 in MMA. I think 4 of my fights were on short notice. My wins, one of them was against an opponent, but the other ones were guys that probably should have beaten. I'm the dude. I'm coming to fight because I want to fight. I love to fight. I got in this sport because I'm like, oh shoot, I get to fight bare knuckle. This is what I want to do, and this is what I set my heart to. So when they start doubting me, or you have somebody who comes in who has not put in the time earned in my sport, there's the difference. You put the time earned in boxing. And I respect that. I haven't. I'm 6-2 in boxing. The only guys that I fought after my first 2 fights were undefeated fighters. That's what I told myself. Either I was going to be that guy who came in here and snatched Jero, or I was going to lose. And every fight, those 2 fights that I lost were dog fights. Those guys earned those W's. Like it wasn't just, I'm going to come in here and get me another, win on my record and keep it moving. No, they earned that. They had to really beat me to get that W. And it's the same way. Look at everyone's like, Bedford beat the crap out of you. No, he didn't. He hurt me, yes. I mean, I got caught with a couple good punches. Plain and simple. But if you go back and run the tape, I did my fair share of damage. And Johnny will honestly say that. I love it because there's plenty of people out there who say, Johnny handled you. You can't do nothing with that, or chop because Bedford, manhandled you. And we always say,
every fight's different. Every fight's different.
And this is what I'm saying. In any given Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, whatever day of the week we fighting, and also fighters grow. I was having an argument. I said, fighters don't grow. I said, perfect example. Look at Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Did we not see the growth of a fighter throughout the span of time?
Listen, I was one of the ones like, no way can anyone deny the growth of where Dustin was to when he first got to the UFC to where he is now. And Conor has kind of hit he's hit his ceiling. And not only did he hit his ceiling, people has figured out his game.
Not even that. Yep. And he didn't change anything up. He hit that plateau and he was like, all right, well, I'm going to ride with this. And that's never the one thing that I love about bare knuckle fighting right now and being in this sport while it's still new, right? Not, because the UFC is on like 200 and whatever, so we see great fights, right? We have great matchups or whatever, but you see the same old thing over in the, the commentary. They know what move's going to happen and da-da-da-da. You know what I love about my sport is I still bring shock value to it, because when I do something and they're like, hold up, is that legal? Can he do that? Or is that in the rules? And it's like, holy crap, yeah. I'm still innovating. We're still in that
now.
stage.
Like you're one of these
And I love
OGs
it.
in you're one of these OGs in this, right? So like you know we you know I love Dave. I've been supporting his shows from back when he was doing his MMA shows up here in the Northeast. So you've been watching this thing from the beginning. Who outside of yourself, who do you like watching in there, dude? Who's the one that's gonna make you go buy the pay-per-view to go get tickets that you're not that you have no reason to be there?
Anytime Joey Beltran is on the card, I'm going to watch. Anytime. Anytime I hear the Mexicutioner is fighting somebody, I'm going to watch because it's going to be an absolute fight. Whether he's beating the crap out of them for the duration of the fight, whether he's surviving to come back and beat the crap out of them, or whether they're beating the crap out of each other for the duration of the fight. Anytime you put Beltran on the card, I'm definitely going up to come see that. Let me think a couple of other mine. You know who hasn't fought in a while, but I would love to see come back? If Chris Lytle came back to fight on the card.
We just seen Chris give us his swan song. So I mean, who's to sit there and say that we don't get Chris to kind of give us one last go for a big fight. And we also just seen that oh wait, Ryan's got one for you.
I was about to say Christine Ferrer. I need to see her on the card. Because there's just so much. This is her sport. It's just so much. Yeah, like you said, Lord, you don't know if it's going to be drama, if it's going to be just an action-packed fight. You just don't know what you're going to get with her. So whenever you put that name on a card, it makes you think, man, I really have to tune in and see what excuse my language for lack of a better word, and she knows I love her to death. What is this bitch gonna do this weekend? That's the only thing, only way I can express it. I'm so sorry.
Hey man, we pretty much let it all kind of hang out here, man. So we don't really let the censorship thing fly here. I mean, you drop the F-bomb, you drop the F-bomb. You feel it, you say it.
So yeah,
say what you need and mean what you say.
Exactly. But now, like you've already kind of said what you see with this. What do you see? Moving forward, how do you see this playing out? Do you see you fighting for this title by the end of the summer?
I won't say summer. I'll say the fall, maybe early winter, which I'm cool with. I have some other things to work on, and but my focus right now is chop, and we're in the gym. We got less than 30 days left. We've already been training, so we just grind it out, and we'll go.
And you said Mississippi is specialty. What makes it so special fighting there?
There's a few different reasons. Come again?
What was that?
Was that the barbecue?
I mean, that's Kansas City, ain't it?
They got some fire barbecue in Mississippi too.
A buddy of mine that I worked with and grew up with a little bit when I was younger, he lived there, and he introduced me some of that Mississippi life. When I was a teenager and a young adult, not all of it good, but and then just anytime I go down there to fight, just the reception, and especially in Biloxi, there are some people knew who I was, and there are people who know who I am. When I get there, and it's awesome. And then there are people from Virginia who actually live right there in Biloxi, who once we got to talking and networking and connecting, we're like, yeah, man, from back home in the 757, I'm from Norfolk, and so we started, and it was just like, man. And so now when I go to Mississippi, it's not neutral territory for me. It's not away territory for me. It's almost like fighting in my own backyard to a certain extent.
You got your second adopted home.
Pretty much, and they know when I come to fight, they love it when I come to fight because they know that it's gonna be a fight and that I'm cool with it being a fight. I think that's what scares my team the most out of everything. Not the preparation, not me in the gym training, you know, to the point of exhaustion and stuff like that. I think the thing that scares my dad and my brother the most is they're my cornermen, is that they know that I will fight. Like I asked my dad in the bed for fight. I said, Dad, did you think about stopping the fight? And he's like, for a second there, he's like, I was worried, but he's like, I couldn't do it to you. And, you know what I mean? Like, so whether I won or not, you know, so it's like, I think that's it. And so that's what I'm bringing.
But
and
see, it's one of those, I say one of those fights is like, when you have those fights like that, it just kind of shows you I think that's one of the reasons why you feel how you feel. You've been in those fires, you've been in those wars, you've seen the best of the best. So it's like what else is anyone else in this division is going to throw at me? And as we were already sitting there saying, we can see that coming out of you. So I mean, as I kind of look forward, it's not dismiss your opponent or look past it or anything like that. It's just I'm supremely confident in your skills of how this plays out, regardless of knockout, decision, whatever. I don't see a way you're losing this fight, and that's not a disrespect to your opponent. He is deserved to be in this spot just as much as you. It's just when you see how things play out, when you see how matchups play out, when you watch the sport. Combat sports long enough, you know. Not just that, matchups make fights too, man. Like I keep sitting there saying, like people, like everyone's like, oh, well, he beat this person. I'm like, that's fine, but how does he fight him? If the way you're gonna fight him it doesn't matter, and especially when we're talking bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, and everybody's like, of course, if we circle back to the whole Johnny beating me thing in that retrospect, that did the smart thing. I take no credit. If you really are a fighter and understand what that did, right? If you're really a fighter, understand what he did. He met Johnny in the middle at his own game off the line, right? And there was the difference between what happened between me and Johnny. I didn't try to meet Johnny off the middle off the line. I tried to step back and immediately start boxing him, right? And he caught me before I could get in my groove. Right? That met him off the line, and they fought, and it was sloppy. It was a war. It was a great fight in retrospect to it being a war, right? But if you go back and you actually look at the technical aspect of that fight, they both sucked. They were winging punches. They were swinging at air. They were hitting each other with their forearms, and a few times you saw Johnny like try to sneak in a little back fist, headbutts. That too. I mean, it was a bare knuckle fight. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. It looked like I said in another interview. It looked like a barroom brawl, a drunken barroom brawl, and that's because that met Johnny on Johnny's terms, his style, in the middle, off kick, right? And Johnny wasn't expecting that. And it overwhelmed him in the first round. And he got tired, right? And he came out the second round. And he's like, oh, you're not going to beat me at my own game. And he started beating Dad up, right? And Dad made a few adjustments, and he started fighting back. But I still think he lost the second round. And then Dad came back out in the third round. He said, nah, you're tired. Because Johnny was tired from fighting him off with his own style. And Dad was like, oh, well, here you go. And he started beating Johnny up some more. Right, and then Johnny came back out the fourth round and was like, you're not going to take this from me. I worked too hard for it. And he started fighting back, and then he sputtered. And you know what Dat Gwynn did? He stepped back and started boxing. Go back and watch the tape. Simple boxing combinations. 1-1-2, 1-2-1, 1-2-3, 2-3-1-1. Go back and watch it. I watched. All he did was step back and started boxing Johnny in the last two rounds. That's how he won that fight. But how he initially won it was smart. He met Johnny in the middle at his own game. That if that was the way he felt to beat him, it worked. I thought just stepping back all right and trying to outbox him would beat him. This is, and that just goes to show that any given Friday, Saturday, whatever day of the week we fight, styles make fights. Fight strategy makes fight. I mean, it does. So, and we're going to see who has the best strategy. We see who has the best style. We see who brings the best of what they have to the squared circle on March 19th between everything that Chop Chop has accomplished in boxing. I guess the little bit that I've accomplished in boxing and MMA. but the lot that I have accomplished in bare knuckle, because I am still number 1 in the world at 135 pounds. I'm not debating that with anybody. Johnny's not bumping me out of my ranking spot just because he holds on to a belt that we're not even. I respect Scott Burt and the Police Gazette, right? But if you're gonna put belts up, then you put all the belts up. Don't put 1 and 2. And if we putting them up, put them all up. So
need a unification or something, so we stop having all this questions around the belts.
I don't even really care about the belts. I want to solidify a champion. They can keep the belts, right? Like, I'll beat whoever. You can hold on to those, but just let whoever the challenger is come fight me, so I can say, look, I won. I won them. I defended the right to have them, but y'all can keep them, and I'm gonna go ahead and do what I need to do for the rest of my life and continue to build my legacy. Do the rest of the fights that I plan on doing, and go from there.
Well, from what I can tell, RBJ don't play, so you coming to scrap, bro. It sounds like you got a lot of confidence.
So, I don't know what our time slot was or anything. So I'm here. Y'all keep asking. I'm gonna keep firing, and y'all just.
I was literally just getting ready to wrap it up, so we can move on to our next segment. And what I typically do here at the end is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over you. Anyone you would like to thank, sponsors, training partners, shoot out your social media sites, and anything you're working with. The time is yours.
Yes. Please, definitely Firstagram. Go like my Instagram page _EAZ_E_. Give it a like, give it a follow, please. Go to Facebook, my fan page, Reggie Barnett Jr. Follow the Educated Hands journey. We just launched my Educated Hands YouTube page. Just type in Educated Hands. It's got all of my fights, all of my interviews, inspirational videos. Just you can look at how the journey started, how far I've came, and it gives you a little perspective into what we're facing and what we're dealing with going into this Chop Corley fight. And then, as always, I want to give a big shout out to my sponsors, Assured Construction. Thank you guys so much for your support. J&K Style Grill, they're going to be hosting a little fight party. So if you don't have the BKTV app, you haven't downloaded it, get up with them and you can go. It'll be definitely COVID friendly, so you can, of course, watch me do my thing on March 19th. Joiner Driving School, thank you so much for all your continued support. Did we miss it? Oh, look, I got it right there. Match belt. They're all right here behind me on my bed. Match belt. Thank you guys. Ginger ale.
Make sure you get them all. Make sure you get them all, Reg.
What? Yeah, my buddy.
Make sure you get them all.
Down there at Damware. Thank you. Cryo Spa. In Virginia Beach. Oh man, I went and got a cryo. Have y'all ever done cryo before? Like a full body cryo?
No, I haven't done cryo. I did like the isolation tank, the floats. I haven't done
Never
the cryo.
done that, but a full cryo. Oh man, you don't know what you're missing. If you ever get a chance to do that, if y'all come out to the 7x7, I definitely have to put you on to that. Do we miss anybody? Oh yeah, and then my affiliate gym, Grindstone Athletics, Chase and Tom. Thank you guys. See, they are the masterminds behind this bare knuckle group. Y'all have no idea the how much stuff we just come up with in the gym. So it's definitely going to be fun. And then always, of course, shout out to everybody at Bare Knuckle, the whole BKFC. What? Oh, yeah. And then Key Customs. Look, my wife's always in my ear.
Hey, man, they keep us right, man. They don't realize how much we forget, and we rely on them to remember for us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So
best of luck to you on March 19th, Reggie. Best of luck to you.
No, man.
We gotta have the BKTV app, y'all.
We gotta correct that. It's best of skill. There's no luck involved in this.
Oh no,
no luck
best
involved.
Of skill. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate the time, my friend. You have a good one. Thanks for good. And that was BKFC Contender. Definitely a fun one. Definitely go. If you guys haven't paid attention to this guy, dude, at least pay attention. Like, I know some people that it's not their thing. I get that. Like, combat sports isn't for everyone. Boxing isn't for everyone. MMA, I get it. This guy's fun to watch. He's
got my attention.
Listen, he's gonna be fun to watch. That's gonna be a fun one. Make sure you guys are got the BKFC app. Get the upcoming pay-per-view there in Biloxi. But moving right on, we want to get in, and this next segment is brought to you by Body Check Wellness, and they are a line of products that is to promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using a full potential of hemp. They come in extract, blends, gummies, tropicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off your order at Body Check Wellness. And remember, again, A2D, 20% off. Dude, I already got stuff from my dog from like before we even set up the partnership, and yeah, he loves that stuff. So, but missed one from Ryan right there at the end as he got off. So, put that up there. He was just showing his love for Reggie again. Got some love from Frank. We had some stuff in there going on there while we were talking to Reggie about some of the Sixers stuff, but I want to kind of switch gears here real fast and get into some of this football talk and Eagle talk. And, if you've been hiding under a rock or in a hospital or in a coma for the last 7 months, the Carson Wentz Eagles drama, relationship, marriage, whatever you want to call it, it is over. He's been traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a bag of peanuts and a sack of coal. He gets to go where he wants. I said it last week. I felt the Eagles overextended on the market. They left them out there too long. As much as I didn't want it, I thought the Bears' initial offer that did not include Tariq Cohen and Nick Foles sounded good, but hey, we have a 3rd round pick this year and a potential, as long as the Carson plays, I think it's like 70% of the snaps or whatever. We'll wind up with a 1st round next year, which they'll be a playoff team, which will be a mid to late round pick. So at that point in time, you have to ask yourself this question. Is this possibly like the worst trade the Eagles have possibly made ever? It could be. It could very well be. Because let's look at the whole scheme of this. When you think about it, what did we give up to go get Carson Wentz? We gave up what, 2 or 3?
We gave up. We in the process we gave up Shady McCoy to we did that trade with Buffalo, and then we traded up with Miami. So. We gave up quite a bit to get Carson Wentz, and yeah, I agree with you. We're not getting a whole lot back.
So
we just gotta. I guess we gotta.
So, like I said, when you go and look at the whole scheme of this thing right here, what you give up to go and draft him, right? You give up, a significant king's ransom to go get him, and initially plays off, and then you pay him. And then you fracture the relationship because Carson has his hand in this to play, and don't get it wrong. He's still a young man trying to grow within this. So
right. And I mean, there was multiple. I think there was.
Thank you, Greg. Greg is putting it down for me here. Gave up a total of 5 picks. 5 picks. So you give up 5. Right. You sign him to a ridiculous contract. You get back 2. And no players? Listen,
Howie definitely
that right there alone, Jeffrey Lurie, you're standing in the room with Howie Roseman. How do you not freaking fire him?
Right.
How do you not fire him? That is an indictment on his entire regime.
It's inexcusable.
I don't care what anyone says. It's an utter failure as a general manager. It is and let's not even talk about the backside of things. That the cap situation's in utter shambles.
Shambles. Way over the cap right now. So it's not in good spot.
You lose on all ends here. Granted, you save face with the situation. You get Carson Wentz out of there. He clearly didn't want to be playing football for the people in that front office. Listen, if you think you removed the problem that was actually there, that he still didn't want to be here in Philadelphia playing football for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think you're wrong. I could be naive. You could say, oh, well, look at, and here's the other thing. We're still sitting here having to deal with Carson and Doug were having issues. They have, after the trade, when, if I remember correctly, I think he went on record with at least a couple beat writers, or actual members of media, not just these people who claim to be, and said that that there were no issues there, and that's kind of the crux of where everything's saying. The issues that with the two guys that have been removed from the situation didn't have issues with each other, that they had issues with upstairs. And we're still beating this drum.
There was multiple weeks where Carson and Doug did not speak to each other, and that's been reported, and it's been validated as well through multiple sources. So, to say that, I mean, in my eyes, where Howie made his first big mistake was giving Carson that boatload of money before making him prove that he wasn't damaged goods after hurting his knee. That's where Howie really messed up.
Well, you really think of it? Well, then why don't you franchise tag him? What was the problem with franchise tagging him there?
Right, exactly. I mean, there would have been no problem with that, because then you're kind of on a year-to-year contract with him anyway. So that would have been a safer route to take.
I mean, at least that saves you the whole problem that has you in this situation you're in currently right now. You would not be in that situation if you had to. If you didn't sign that contract, you would have been able to kind of, there would have been no big deal of you drafting Jalen Hurts last year. You could have traded Carson Wentz when his value was much higher. Mind you, considering the season he just had.
Same with Zach Ertz. His value only dropped dramatically this past season. The value only dropped with the injury and the lack of production because of the injury with Zach Ertz. Both of their productions completely fell off a cliff this year, and their trade value as well with it. So
this is a situation that they should have nipped in the butt right immediately. But to save the season for what? Did you already know that you've blown it up?
Right.
And over the past 24 to 40 hours got blown up more. Deshaun Jackson is now gone. The rumor is that
the trade talk for Ertz is heating up. Looks like the Chargers, the Rams, the Seahawks are still being talked about. It's still a possibility he could go to the Colts and team up with Carson Wentz in Indianapolis, because the Colts do have the cap space for him. So I mean, it's
man.
Could you imagine Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz in a Colts jersey next year?
The people in the chat are not happy with this poll question. Here we go again. People are going after the poll questions here. Okay, so let's hold this up, and we're gonna have to bring up some of these comments here real fast.
Let's do that. That sounds good.
All right. So Embiid won't win a ring. It's possible. We don't know.
It's way too early for somebody to say that.
Unless he has a career-ending injury, which it's kind of the other thing. I guess. It hasn't been validated yet because he's still in the midst of his career. I'm just sitting there saying with what you're seeing offensive and defensively, you cannot tell me he's not only currently in the NBA, he's the best big man, but just in general. Hold on, let me go find some of this other. This guy was blowing it up while we were talking to Reggie. Hold on, look at this. I mean, he's going. He was just going all.
Sounds like a Celtic fan.
Celtic fan. It says the Bears. I don't know. Because Gasol does play good. It does have good games against Embiid. So,
Marc Gasol. He's played.
Listen, guys.
Throughout the world.
How can you not, regardless if he wins a ring, you could say it's not validated or not. His healthy. Or even him playing half-ass, he's still the best center in the NBA. One, offensively and defensively.
Absolutely.
The only thing you do question is the same thing you're always going to question him is whether his head's in and his heart's in. And I think this season you can't sit there and say that either is in question.
Right.
People call him fat, call him lazy. That's just so old, guys. Let it go. Let it go.
They're running out of things. They're running out of that. That just shows that they're running out of things to come at him with. If you're going to start talking about his weight and things like that, then you're running out of things to talk about his game. Obviously his game's pretty on top with the rest of these all-stars in the league, because if you're starting to attack his personal appearance and things like that, then you're running out of targets.
Listen, I mean, and I don't agree that both, and I don't disagree rather that both Steph Curry and LeBron James should be in this conversation. They do, but I just think with everything that both of them have been winners in the past one, but not just that, just the season that Joe's having right now, and it's not taking anything. He is this team right now.
He is.
And to be fair, he has been not just the face of the process, but he's been the face of this team since he's been drafted, and as it should be. And I just think, like I said, it's just a matter of things of him coming into his own. I didn't want to get off the Eagles too much, but obviously, we were getting some comments here in the chat. One of the related to the poll question, which has been a hot topic of A2D stuff apparently here in the Philadelphia media. So want to address that, make sure it's clear on the air.
Yes, sir.
And say, we got some people agree. Some people agree. He is. I think my thing is he's the best since Shaq. Do we have an argument from now since Shaq was in? Is there in there? you got a co-sign from one of the YouTubers, one of our normal ones. Ted is always in here showing his love, so appreciate the love. I'm sure he appreciates the co-sign there. But let's get back to some of this football talk.
Yeah.
What's up, Daly? Now getting back to this, like I said, I mean, this is, in my opinion, that can you name a worse trade? Because with what you give up to go get him, both player, picks, everything included, and then what you get back in return for him, on top of taking massive cap hit, massive PR. Like, dude, they literally looking like a Mickey Mouse organization at this point in time. You were talking about the new norm. Now the new norm is what we're what the Cleveland Browns were 10 years ago. Is that what the new norm is? And it's so sad that Doug gonna have to hear that soundbite until he changes things up. And I'm not disagreeing with you here, Steve. Steve, me and you've been going at it with a lot of things, but listen, that is our exact no, and that's not a if you go look at his career and tell me to dig on it right now. Tyrod Taylor's had a very good career, and if that's what Jalen Hurts is, that's not a bad thing. We already know what he is. Then okay, if that's how you can work around that. Like, listen, okay, he's a more than serviceable starting quarterback, but he's probably more served to be your backup or a change of pace guy when your starter isn't doing too good. But at the end of the day,
I think that's kind of the same.
But listen, that's been our assessment of who he was. And here's the thing: this is still a precursor. As much as we're sitting there saying I felt he wasn't ready. He should have probably had a year, maybe even two, before he had a start, just to kind of really get a feel of reading defense. And everyone was fell in love with him after the first game. I'm like, no one's had tape on him. Of course, he's gonna have a good game. And what was it mostly? Right. It was running. It wasn't his arm. It was dazzling anyone his arm. What did Carson dazzle us with his first game? Was his feet or was his arm? Oh, it was both. I'm sorry. It was both. I'm sorry. Listen, that's why he was drafted. That's why we gave up something, because how special he was. What I think you would have to say the most things that are going to frustrate you about the Carson Wentz era and how it succeeded, but yet also ultimately failed. Just your misuse of him, everything. Like, listen, I honestly think we're gonna look back at this in 10 years and be like, we thought this was a good idea. You couldn't have fixed this. He's gonna be successful in Indianapolis. You bank on that. He's going to win. He's going to win his own Super Bowl. You can bank on that. They were already a playoff team.
Yeah, he's got the team around him to do it for sure.
Stop it.
He sure does. No, he does. And I think the Eagles and Howie Roseman in the front office are kind of looking at it like that. About they're kind of equalizing Jalen Hurts to a Tyrod Taylor. That's why they're talking about bringing in quarterback competition for to compete against Jalen Hurts for the starting spot, because I think they're kind of until they see more, they're looking at Hurts like that he's.
But
probably
here's the question, Ted. What happened? What, Jeff? You have to ask yourself, what happened? What happened? How did we go from Jason Kelsey's speech on freaking Howie Roseman? And that's somebody I want to talk to. I want to talk to Jason Kelsey the moment he retires and ask him, does he feel the same way about Howie Roseman right now that he felt when he made that speech after the Super Bowl?
I want to be a part of that conversation on A2D Radio. That's for sure.
Listen, I don't care if it's A2D Radio. I don't care if it's another media member. I don't care if it happens in private. I need to know.
Yeah. I agree with you. I would like to. I
don't know who we take at 6. Really, at this point in time,
it better not be a quarterback. Better not be a quarterback. That's all I can say.
Listen,
if it's a quarterback, you're going to see a lot of pissed off Eagles fans out there. That's for sure.
Listen, if the right one's there, why not? But who's to sit there and say the reason you made this trade for Carson is so you to move up to go get somebody like a freaking go pick up the phone and call the Jaguars? Can we get one? Can we get one? We'll give you this year. We'll give you our 2 next year.
But who's to say this? Who's to say a quarterback that we potentially draft isn't gonna come into this league and be soft like Carson and not be able to compete?
And of course, we got Steve here. Of course, man, I'm with you, but I'm having this feeling it's gonna be a quarterback
at 6. Really? You think so?
Listen, I don't trust this team to do a damn thing. I have no faith in the front office. I have no expectations moving forward.
When Howie's making the pick, I will never be surprised at anything anymore.
He should be removed of all of his decision-making duties. We did. We absolutely gave Wentz away, Bryce. We absolutely. I know, and that's the thing, Ted. We know it, unless you get the guy at the top, there's no point, none whatsoever. Right. And they're gonna try to justify it. They picked the wrong guy the last few years. I mean, I think Andre Dillard should be traded, getting out of here, gets a fresh look somewhere else. If you make it, you make it. You don't, you don't. Jordan Mailata is my starting left tackle now.
He's definitely earned the spot. I agree.
I think your thing is, I think
I want to get at least a second or third back for Dillard if we're going to trade Dillard.
I think at this point in time, if I'm the logical man thinking, I give Jalen Hurts the season. You go with those your first your first few picks, and you go get some more weapons to go around them. Maybe if the wide receiver isn't there, maybe see if you can get yourself a freaking a lineman. Because
linebacker from Penn State looks like a stud.
We're not going to go linebacker, dude. Come on, stop it. Stop it. I've been crying for linebacker for I don't know how ever. That's not going to happen.
I've been saying that if the Eagles draft a linebacker at 6, that I will S, and then I will fall back in it.
Yeah, all this could have been avoided, Bryce. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing. We have all these unnamed sources. Listen, I don't. This is not national security, people. You can't have unnamed sources, especially in pro sports. So stop it, like, please.
I know also the Eagles fans are irked that Wentz was already on social media with his teammates and the too little, too late goodbye to the city. I definitely think that he could have came out sooner and talked to the fans.
Listen, all I gotta say is how crazy that was. Orlando Skandrick was right.
Right? I didn't even think about that.
That just makes my skin crawl even a little bit more. And
Orlando Skandrick was telling the truth the whole time. Who knew?
Yeah, Howie Roseman was the snake behind it all.
Howie Horrible. That's what I call him. Howie Horrible.
and that's the other thing, we're saying Bryce is going off on here. the sources were Harry and Jeff. Exactly, the Colts player calling him a leader and all that, and yeah, exactly. Orlando Skandrick was like crazy.
And Carson texted, I think one of the other quarterbacks on the roster, or the only other quarterback on the roster for the Colts, and he said,
Ted, come on, man. Of course he's complicit, and it's his team.
Yeah,
he sat there and he's been watching this. But here's the thing: this is now the fourth coach that this guy has survived under. Ran Andy out of town. Andy's only been a model of freaking consistency. Yeah. By the way, they're arguably one of the best franchises in the NFL since he's being there, and we've been since he's left. It's been kind of rough, yeah. So what happened after that? He started making bad choices to the point where he made the even crazier. Chip Kelly had to force him out because he just couldn't deal with him. Right. Then they bring Doug in and they make it work for a few seasons. And we get one. And then it came
right twice a day.
Listen, I almost hate to be even just swallowing it to admit it at this point in time, but I was lightning in a bottle, man.
It was absolutely, and I think the most.
It hurts Eagles fans way more than they'll ever admit.
Oh, it does, but I think for the most part, the fan base is going to be happy to have hopefully we get more of a fierce competitor at quarterback, because when he would get up and after getting tackled and he'd be like shaking the other guy's hand or patting him and saying, yeah, good tackle. Or sometimes Carson Wentz would be smiling after he threw an interception, trying to, I don't know if it was like a nervous smile or whatever, but it just seemed like he was soft in that aspect. And I'm definitely hoping that the next quarterback, whether it be Jalen Hurts or not,
I don't really feel like it's that. Listen, I think it just got to the point where it was like, listen, that everything was this relationship was fractured to the point where we just didn't care anymore. Like, you ever been in a relationship and know that it's over, and the other one isn't kind of putting in the effort that you put out, yeah. Regardless if you're being paid or you're still in the situation or not. Are you going to be putting forth the same effort that you were at when it first started? No, you're not. And it clearly showed. People could sit there and say it's soft, it's selfish, whatever. You're in a relationship with somebody, and you're not giving me all I need, not just mentally, physically, etc. That plays both in life relationships and business relationships. You have to nurture them to make them work. If there's a problem, you can't compound it and just make it worse and just say, oh, you're just going to sit here and deal with it.
No.
I said, I don't agree with how Carson played the season or how a lot of guys played the season. And, a lot of people were questioning this. Listen, his head wasn't there. And there's rumors about this, that, and the third. And listen, I'm not playing into the rumors. I don't care about unnamed sources. I go with what I see from real reporting and what I've seen from this past year in media in this city. Thank God I do this because I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
and you could see a lot in the effort in the team in his teammates around him. They just seem to respond better to Jalen Hurts when Jalen came in, just like they did with Foles. I don't know what it was. I don't know if some of those rumors are true about the coddling and the soft coaching and things like that. So
exactly. I'm not fighting for my job while you stabbing me in the back.
Right.
It's just a guy got to replace me then. Get it over with. I don't want to play that game. Like, listen, if I don't have that trust and faith in you, that you're going to give me that effort that I'm going to give in you, you're going to get the bare minimum out of me until you speak up and do what's necessary.
And speaking of the bare minimum, that's why the Bears didn't pull the trigger on the trade, because he wasn't all in on going to Chicago for multiple reasons. They have a shaky offensive line. They have no receivers. I mean, Allen Robinson's going to be a free agent, and their head coach and GM are on thin ice. If they don't go deep into the playoffs this next year, Nagy and
here's the thing: if you look at it,
they were gone.
He was in, but if you look at it, if he was going to be in a good situation there.
I don't know.
In the future, if you look in the future,
really,
look
how
at
better of a situation was it going to be?
So Aaron Rodgers
situation he had in Philadelphia.
Aaron Rodgers is going to retire within the next 2 seasons, correct?
Yeah, and if Zach Ertz is smart, he'll go play with them.
Okay, so let's say within the next 2 years, Green Bay is out of the picture as far as competition goes in that division, right?
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Matthew Stafford's gone, and we can clearly we know Carson Wentz is better than Jared Goff, so that takes two out of it. So do you think he can't overcome what was it, Kirk Cousins again? Because I think he can still beat Minnesota. So now you go and look at that division. You want to go and fight with the Tennessee Titans twice a year, possibly 3 times a year. Because what happened to you last year? Who knocked you out of the playoffs?
Tennessee.
Okay. So you have to beat your division. You're telling he may be on a better team, but he's not in a better situation.
That's a good take. I see where you're coming from with that.
Like he might be.
I don't know. I think he's going to be playing
successful.
I think he's going to be playing a lot more hero ball.
But will they be? Now, here's the one you want to say. Do you feel 2017 Carson Wentz will return at any point in time in his career?
No.
You don't?
No, I do not, because a lot of that depended on his mobility with his legs and is able to improvise, and move out of the pocket quickly. And players are only getting faster and stronger in this league. And no, I don't think so. I think he has a good chance to still be a very strong starting quarterback in this league.
You got it there, brother. You got it there. This is the crux of the whole thing. Last season he got under the. What he did last season was amazing, and you don't hire what you needed for him for offensive coordinator. You didn't hire one, and then you didn't give him a good another, because you went through another quarterbacks coach. Didn't hire who he needed there. You don't get him any real weapons outside of retooling some things, and we have you sat there with trotting Alshon Jeffrey back out there, who wasn't back out there. You gave us Deshaun Jackson, who absolutely love him to death, but we already seen the song and dance play out. So he was yet again left to deal with minimal weapons, and then you have to deal with the offensive line issues. And we've seen how that plays out in the Super Bowl with how he looked like Superman, but did he still didn't look like Superman?
Yeah.
When what Patrick Mahomes did in that Super Bowl was great. Don't get me wrong, but when you don't have an offensive line, what did that scoreboard look like?
Right, and when you have receivers dropping balls in the end zone, you can't throw the ball to yourself. You can't catch the ball yourself when you're a quarterback. So.
Yeah, he's definitely going next, brother. What's up, Cromer?
I don't know. I think in Chicago, Wentz is going to have to play more hero ball like he did in Philadelphia.
Oh
I don't
man,
know
here we go.
I don't know how productive that's going to be.
We're gonna have to go back to some Sixer talks because we got some. We have some more comments on the poll question here. I'm gonna flash that back up here real quick. And Joel Embiid is the most dominating big man since Shaq. Agree to disagree. It is a talking point for the poll question, guys. Just remember this. I'm waiting for an actual response besides just people spurting out nonsense. Can we get a nomination by somebody else? You just want to throw out things. I've heard Paul Gasol is Joe's daddy. So
no, Mark.
I don't think he's overall a better offensive, defensive, or overall star in the NBA. Joel Embiid is better than Paul. Does he match up well against Joe? Absolutely. But
especially offensively.
Now here we go.
Because Marc Gasol can play some defense, but he can't score like Joel.
Do you not get Joe's character? Small guy. Do you not get his character? Because I mean, I know he's like, some people don't get him at times, but to not get this is just foolish to me. I don't know.
Yeah. He's being silly.
And that's debatable. So tell me, is he or is he not the most dominant big man since Shaq? And Shaq was absolutely special. I think the difference is they're pretty much the same guy, except Joe's taller, longer, and leaner.
And Joel's still very young. So
so if you ask me, the reason I'm making this comparison isn't just because Shaq was great and he is arguably the greatest center of the past 30 years or more. The reason I'm also doing that because if the same things that we complain about Joe, what did the media used to say about Shaq? Oh, that's right. Y'all call them the same thing. Y'all call them guys. This is why I'm making this. I'm clearing this up now so I don't have to backtrack it later. Listen, Shaq is obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time centers. We can have discussions and arguments about predating this recent millennia.
I mean. But go back to I don't think anyone was saying that about Shaq when he was young and skinny in Orlando. I don't think anyone was saying that he's
but he did what he does a lot of this Joe stuff. He was foolhardy. He cracked jokes. He didn't take things seriously. Yeah. He was out of shape at times. I mean, it got worse at the end. It got worse at the end. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like what I'm sitting there saying is, I make this comparison because I remember Shaq used to get a lot of grief.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about their play on the floor, Ted. I'm just talking about with what being the great centers. Having both the offensive and defensive prowess. They don't play the same game.
The point of the poll is that Joel is the most dominant center in the league since Shaq. Period.
Give me a name.
You agree or you don't.
Give me a name.
Right? Throw somebody else out there.
Thank you, Matt. They call him the troll for a reason. It's for him to have fun. He's messing with people. He's not doing it to hurt anyone's feelings. He's doing it to get the reactions. So we want to talk about Duncan.
Hulu has live sports.
Was Duncan a pure center or was he a power forward?
Power forward.
So this is what I mean. I would have never asked the question if this wasn't here because the only one you could say is Tim Duncan.
Just like Anthony Davis, is he a true center? No, he's more of a power forward.
And Joe is, if you really look, kind of like the breed of those type of centers. Have we seen anyone else since then? What up, Tommy? Big Daddy Tom.
What's going on, Tom?
So again, let's see. Before you want to add any more onto this Sixers talk, or not Sixers talk, the Eagles talk before we move on to some Phillies talk here and give us some other things.
I think we've said our piece for the Eagles for today.
Yeah, I think we beat that drum enough and beat him down beat him down a little bit there. So I
don't want to say the W word anymore, so I'm good for now.
Well, we're not going to talk about Carson Wentz anymore. We're retiring him after today. Well, no, I mean, I've actually seen some fans go out there and go buy a Colts hat and stuff like that. Listen, I do wish him well. I do think he's going to be successful moving forward. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, if you're able to switch teams over a quarterback, then your loyalty to a franchise wasn't that deep to begin with. So,
and Matt gets it.
Good luck in Indy. Good luck in Indy. If you want to follow Carson in Indy, you go ahead and take that wagon to Indianapolis.
Hey, listen, I love my team, but don't tell me I'm not going to be checking in on the Colts rooting for Carson Wentz just because of how this whole situation played out. I mean, it was different. It was different when Donnie left. He went to Washington. He was just like, no, I can't do it, Donnie. I'm sorry. Can't do it. And especially because at that point in time, the Donovan McNabb-Philadelphia relationship had more than soured. I think there's a good portion of this fan base that feels that Carson got a bad shake. Oh,
and he did. I agree with that.
So
from the beginning, he got thrown into the fire as a rookie, and it hasn't been the smoothest of sailing for him.
Trust him to do what, Brandon? What we trusted him to do? Are we trusting him to be serviceable quarterback to potentially get us to the playoffs? I mean, possibly, yeah. Do I trust him to be the franchise quarterback, a star in this league?
Haven't seen enough.
I can't sit there and I'm with you on that. I can't. It's 4 games. He's not there. Yeah, we don't know.
Do we trust him to be a one read quarterback and then take off and run after that one read's not there?
I mean, that's the thing. Is he going to continue to develop his game beyond that? This is one of the reasons why I said that we should have held on to Carson at least another year or two to kind of see how it plays out.
I was really interested to see how Carson would welcome in the new and how he would bounce back with the new coaching staff. So it was kind of sad to see that it's not
Ted is done beating on the Eagles drum. He is done. He Now, can we say they're running it all? I got my love for my guys. I got my Sixers hat on today.
Gonna have to get to New Jersey. New Jersey's gonna be tough.
And it's not just that, man. We're not even talking the fact that Milwaukee's still there.
Celtics.
Let's not forget about Giannis, okay? Let's not count them out just yet.
and Jimmy Butler, man, he took the Heat to the finals last year, so you can't count them out either.
Ted, I got this one. Hold on. He had another one in there. That's a good one. I mean, if we
can, it's a good point, Ted. Definitely, they didn't put the weapons around him.
It's pipe, to succeed. It was pipe dreams like me wanting to get Khalil Mack from the Bears. It's a pipe dream like me wanting to get Julio Jones from Atlanta. It's just more pipe.
Just imagine though, we could have drafted DK Metcalf and Chase Claypool. Imagine what those two weapons could have done for Carson Wentz.
I'm with you. I can't trust his arm as of yet. He has to show me, Matt. I'm with you. You think he's gonna have? Well, we'll see. I would hope so. If he doesn't, then
only played 5 games. So
if he doesn't, we still have a problem. Now, I guess we're going back to the poll. I guess because we're still hearing a lot of comments in the chat that it is within question. I mean, we're not hearing legitimate arguments. The only person I've heard is Tim Duncan, who wasn't really a center. So, and like I said, there's a lot of comparisons between these. Not in that, again, not the actual game, just who these guys are.
I'm surprised nobody has said Giannis yet. I know a lot of people don't think Giannis is a center, but I mean, he is a big man and he's pretty dominant.
Yeah, I don't think of him as a center. He's more like your
swing forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end, he wasn't a center. Do you not remember him and David Robinson being on the floor together, winning championships? Did I miss something?
Right. Well, I mean, maybe after Robinson retired, maybe he played some center, but I mean, I always thought of Tim Duncan as a power forward. Always.
What's up, Prism? I don't know. It depends on when whatever blackmail he has over Jeffrey Lurie runs out.
Prism, if Howie doesn't hit on a few of at least 2 or 3 of these draft picks in this next upcoming draft, he has to be on thin ice. Jeff Lurie has to take off the mom goggles, so to speak, and start seeing Howie for what he truly is, and that is not a good drafting GM. And if, like I said, if he doesn't hit on at least 2 or 3 of these picks in this next coming draft, that he's got to go. Because you're not going to, if you're an Eagles fan and you're expecting Howie to hit on every single draft pick, that's unrealistic. Nobody hits on every single draft pick. You got to give the guy a little wiggle room.
He has to now. His track record is just so bad. Like this team is in such disarray, not just because of your bad free agent signings, your bad re-signings, your bad dealing with player personnel as it is in general, but you have had historically horrid drafts. Historically.
Let's put this question out there too. I'll ask you, see if you know, who is the last wide receiver the Eagles drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft? I guarantee you're probably not going to remember who it was.
Probably not.
Kenny Jackson in 1984 is the last time the Eagles drafted a quarterback in the top 10 of the NFL draft. So if they do draft one of these top receivers in the draft, it's definitely going to be out of the norm and I'll be happy with it. But I also do think we do have some good young weapons for to put around Hurts right now, and it's all about developing these young receivers. And I'm excited to see what Sirianni can do with Hightower and Fulgham and Quez and these young guys.
Yeah, you gotta love a good Talladega Nights reference. That's all I gotta say. Oh man, but I think on to the next topic here. Phillies hit spring training, but actually no. Real quick, let me remember this. The next half of our segment is brought to you by our next sponsors, and many of us in our families deal with mental health, addiction, and issues. We are happy here to support the Counseling Center and Detox Sunrise. So if you have any issues, anyone has any problems, please have them call 856-651-8117. And we're going to be talking some Phillies right now. Spring training's here, and the bad omens have already started. JT Realmuto has fractured his thumb. Is this a sign of things to come for this coming season? We've already seen the injury bug decimate, the Eagles this year. The Sixers have relatively been safe from it. Phillies, on the other hand, had a rough go of it the last few seasons with injuries. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the injury? Obviously, it's not going to be something going to hold him back for too long. We're only in spring training, and it's more along him just not going to have the rapport with the pitchers as you would like to as we start the season, etc. like that. But other than that, we got a more than serviceable backup catcher for the time being. But what are your thoughts on broken thumb and everything that's going to be surrounding the beginning of spring training.
I think it's better to happen now than obviously happen later in the season. I mean, the baseball season is definitely more of a marathon than a sprint, even with COVID, things like that. But I just definitely think that, like you said, we have a decent backup to replace him for the time being. So I think they should be fine going forward. I don't think it should affect things too much. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't take a whole lot of practice time to get for a catcher and a pitcher to get sync. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, Matt, he needs to freaking disown him because he needs a new one. No, yeah, I'm with you. It's not going to be like I don't foresee the Realmuto injury being a big deal. No, getting him back up to speed and stuff. Like I said, I think the real question is this something that we're going to have to expect from the season? More injuries and stuff kind of going to be holding this team back. Like I know a lot of us feel that kind of the moves they made over the last few weeks, it kind of puts them more in a position to kind of compete with the Atlanta Braves, possibly, contend for the division, see how everything plays out. But, pitching is always a concern. I think they, between hitting and some of the arms they brought in, they'll be all right. You just, take care of the back end of the pen there and get some quality innings out of some guys, and they'll be all right. That's what killed them last season, obviously. But the injury thing that I think in order for us to be able to do that, this team has to stay healthy. I don't think we can afford to miss any arms for a lengthy period of time. You might be able to stave away losing a little bit of offense, but cannot lose any pitching.
Yeah, pitching's way too valuable in this league. Definitely, it's way too hard to replace.
Well, that's the one thing where they're weakest at, and like I said, we barely even gotten into day 2, and he freaking busted his thumb. I'm like, we're doing this again. We're doing this again.
Yeah, it seems like a recurring issue.
I'm not sure if it was his throwing or his pitching hand or catching hand. I'm saying pitching because I was just talking pitchers.
I mean, for a catcher, does it really matter? I would think for a catcher, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, the thumb for the grip on the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
When you're going in, it's all right, you're runner. I'm just thinking it would make some type of difference. I mean, especially not just that, you're the broken one, you're catching freaking heat in your hand.
Right. So did he break his hand or did he break his thumb?
No, it was his thumb. I'm just saying, like when you're catching it, your thumb's there, man. I ain't trying to catch, 100 some mile an hour heaters with a fractured or broken thumb.
That's gonna sting extra on the thumb there. If it's the catching hand, that's for sure.
But we're getting closer to them reporting. Obviously, I guess I'll ask you now. What are your what are your projections? What are your thoughts on what potentially the Phillies could do this season?
I think it's going to be. I think it's kind of going to be pretty much the same as last year. I mean, I think it's going to be.
So basically, they should be a wild card team, is what you're saying. Outside of
I think they'll be right around in that range.
The bullpen explosion. We probably should have been a playoff team last year. We basically gave it to the Marlins. Like, here you go. Have a nice October. We're going home.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you got another year under Girardi. You kind of keep the core nucleus of that team together between Harper, Realmuto, Didi. You got Cushing's there. I hear we're getting a familiar face back in center field to kind of help with the rotation there a little bit. So could you see this team pushing them Braves? Is there another team we should be worried about, like inside of our division? Are the Mets going to give us a push, or are the Nationals going to bounce back?
I think the Nationals have a better chance of giving us a push, outside of the Braves in our division. I think the Nationals are definitely going to have a bounce back year this year. I think they got some young up and coming talent on that team.
Ooh, rough one. So the Flyers game has gotten pushed to 7. Sixers play at 7-2. Man. I guess one of them's gonna go on the laptop, and one of them, I don't know. Maybe we should put one on the radio, listen to one, watch one.
Yeah, unless you got split screens, like you said. Yeah, laptop for one, TV for the other.
I guess Rob is sitting there saying the Nats is kind of the other team we should watch. I'm definitely with you. I think the Mets aren't quite there. I think they just spent a lot of money this offseason. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I just don't think they're there yet. They have a team that it could be there in less than a season if you're not careful.
Yeah.
But I'm with you that the Nats, only what 2 years removed from a world title, 3 years removed from a world title, something like that.
Yeah, he was just 2.
And he thinks the Braves are gonna fall on their faces. I don't know, man. I can't count that team out, man. Not I can't count that team out, man. I don't see that. I don't see them falling this year. I think they're gonna be as much of a problem as they were last year. And we're just talking about inside of our division. We're just talking about it inside of our division.
Right.
That's not even talking about who, like, if we contend for the division, who we might still have to battle out for potential wild card spots, because the NL West isn't exactly a kitten's playground over there.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, the Dodgers and the Padres alone just should be enough to raise your eyebrow.
Yeah,
which one of like that? Which kind of poison you want?
The Dodgers are going to be dangerous again, and the Padres are definitely going to be an up. They're going to be a definite. I think they're
they just had some rough games last season. They're another team that I just think is one of them that maybe not enough people are really talking about right now. The Padres.
Yeah,
one of the teams I like. Colorado's kind of really traded themselves out of the conversation. So you're going to have to talk about the Cardinals. Are going to be one of these teams. The Phillies are going to be fighting for one of these potential playoff spots that you could see them being in moving forward.
Right. Yeah, the Cardinals will be in the mix for sure. Definitely, I agree. Yep.
And Rob feels the Padres be a wild card team. So, like that being said, and now you can't count out, what the Cardinals just did in bringing Nolanary out of there. Can't discount that for any reason. And
the Dodgers, and barring any major injuries, the Dodgers are winning the NL West. So the Padres are definitely, if they're competitive, they're definitely going to be a wild card team for sure.
The Sox,
I don't know about the White Sox.
You're gonna have to sell me on that one, Rob. You're gonna have to sell me on that one. Listen, I'm not anything against them. I just feel that they might be still a couple players away before we get them to having a conversation as a team we should be talking about. And you still got our normals that they're going back and forth here in the chat room, but I think we're getting right around that time to get ready to wrap things up here. From my original start to stop time, I actually have some things to do. Outwise, mom was in the hospital this week, so gotta run by, go spend some time with her and stuff like that.
Speedy recovery to your mom.
Oh man, dude, it's COPD, everything else going on. Now you have to get used to oxygen and everything like that. Craziness. And going through all that during this time is even more crazy for her. So,
Yeah, I bet.
Rob likes the Brewers in the Sun. See, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. You still gotta, you still can't count out. Like I said, you still have St. Louis there. You still have the Astros.
I think the St. Louis are stronger than the Brewers to me in my opinion.
Yeah, well, like I said, St. Louis is, like I said, the team I'm liking there, but you still can't. I'm with them. Like the Brewers is definitely worth noting to have in that conversation. But the question is, can they win enough to get to, if not win the division, to at least contend for the wild card at the same time? So, like I said, and that's what I was sitting there saying for you, bro. Like this. I like them. They still need a couple. We're better a year or two away. We get there.
There's multiple teams that need a solid starter. They're not the only ones.
Apparently, Prism is pocket posting on YouTube. As you send her deleted messages or something. Oh, I love my guys. Hey man, it ain't no joke, man, dude. It's rough. I just, she's getting to that point. I just have, make sure she has everything she needs to make sure that, we have to put some extra finances aside to make sure that, when she goes out, she has proper transportation and everything like that, because Kelly can't be walking around. But don't want to get too much off of our sports topic as we're getting ready to wrap this one up, and just, appreciate you hopping on here, filling in for Zach this week. Appreciate it. Oh, dude, definitely have some fun. Oh, we always try to have some fun here on A2D. Definitely going to be back here next week. Going to be starting over the next few weeks. Going to be having some of the Muay Thai fighters from Line Fights. They have a event coming up here. I think it's March 12th, or 13th, something like that. Their upcoming event. So we're going to be having some of the fighters moving forward, not only on the weekly roundup, probably do some athlete spotlights with, some other fighters, not just Lion Fight stuff, but we got some stuff working out on that. Again, guys, make sure, you like, subscribe, follow, make sure you're doing, everything to keep up with everything we're doing over here on A2D. Got some more programming coming this afternoon. I'm pretty sure we got the guys doing some wrestling talk in this very ring tonight, if memory serves me. So if that's not tonight, tomorrow, I'm not sure. I think it's tonight. Just filled out the poll for Andy for the coming event Saturday, or Sunday. Why am I saying Saturday? But other than that, guys, it's fun as always. Be back with Mr. Burr next week. Other than that, another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm Steve. This was my friend over here, Mr. Philly Foothills, guest hosting this week. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one, everyone.
Peace, guys.